friends, we are back for another edition of Getting the Colorado Driving. And the last one you guys saw was primarily focused on bodywork, and this one we are going to get the thing, I don't want to say 100% because realistically it'll probably never be 100%, but we're going to get it to the point where it's running, driving good, and no more issues with the alternator and otherwise. And then towards the end of this video, we will take this thing for another drive, and hopefully at the end of this video, nothing else breaks. That's the main goal. But for now, we're going to jump in, get started. The main three things are the heater core leak. I need to replace a fitting back there. I need to get the header, the finished denting in the header, because that is still hitting the steering shaft. And then the biggest issue is the alternator. I need to get that thing charging so that I can actually drive this thing. So those are really the three big things. There may be some other little stuff scattered throughout the video, but I'm going to jump in now and get started. Quick update on progress. So I fixed the heater core fitting here, the plastic fitting. The previous one was completely broken off. I'll show a picture of it. Pretty typical thing, but you know, I should have just replaced it right away. My fault. The process to replacing these is pretpretty easy. There's like a Colorado type and a Silverado type. The Silverado ones, from what I've seen, you need a special tool to get back there and kind of click in there. It's almost like a fuel line disconnect tool. The Colorado ones, I basically just got a little pick in the outside. There's an outside kind of retaining ring. Got a little pick in there, popped the ring off, pulled the old one off. New one, just basically put it on this line, slid it on, and it was good. So that was a pretty easy fix. Luckily, didn't have too much coolant leaking out. Also got the new radiator cap on. The design was much different than the Colorado, or the Colorado 4-cylinder one. So definitely needed to replace that. Glad that I did. This should seal and not leak. Pretty sure that the only reason the other one leaked is because it was the wrong radiator cap. So go figure. Next up, basically two more things to fix before I get this thing back out. Got to take that header off and dent the header more so that the steering shaft will clear. And Current also got back to me and gave me a method to try to basically jump this to trick the alternator into producing some voltage. So that's probably the next thing I'm going to try. You guys will see me jump this, start the truck up, and see if we have any voltage. If we do, it's good news. We have kind of a temporary fix until we can get to a long-term fix. At least the truck will be drivable. So I will update and I will show you guys what I did, assuming it works. All right, about to start up the truck and see if my temporary fix suggested by Current actually works. So they basically told me to take the plug for the battery generator control module and looks like it's not going to focus, but jump two of the wires together, which I think the purpose of that is tricking the alternator into running or producing like a steady voltage. So that will be the plan. I have it jumped. I'm going to start this thing up, and then hopefully the alternator's, again, it's running at a steady voltage and actually producing some current. If that's the case, I can drive the truck. So kind of a band-aid fix. I'm still going to try to work with Current to figure out how to get this thing to work so that the truck is actually regulating the voltage. But I think for now this will work, and I'm hoping that the little band-aid fix works. One other thing I don't think I showed yet, and I'm excited to try this out, is this. So everyone was commenting like, why do you have to start the truck with the jump wire? For anyone who hasn't watched, you have to do an ignition switch relearn, which generally has to come from a Chevy dealer. I think maybe you can do it through like HP tuners, but I know for a fact a Chevy dealer can do it. They basically just have to like get the truck to relearn the key or something. I don't know all the mechanics of it, but I know their Chevy dealer can do it. That's why I have to jump it. I was sick of actually jumping it, so I bought this little switch, mounted it here. You can get a better view. And this basically has a wire running from the fuse box over to the battery. So I'm going to try this out. Use my new push button start, which is pretty fancy, even though it's under my hood. And then see if I can start it with the button instead of having to jump it. So testing the button and seeing if this temporary fix in the alternator works. Well, success. I showed the multimeter while I was running. Both push button start worked, and the little trick that current gave me works. It looked like it was producing a pretty constant 14.75 volts. I checked the battery right before firing the truck, and I had it on a trickle charger. The battery was at about 13 volts alone, so that means it's producing like an extra 1 point whatever 1.75 volts compared to what the battery was putting out. So long story short, like, I realize I say that a lot. Long story short, the temporary solution works, which is great. Now I can focus on driving this thing. I don't think 14.25 or 14.75 volts is too high. Definitely going to ask current if there's any risk in just running a constant voltage. Now I just got to figure out kind of the long-term solution, but at least I know in the short term the truck will run and I don't have to worry about running out of juice, which is great. And I'm an idiot, and I let a bunch of air in the system when I changed that heater core line. So of course right when I started it I had a huge bubble come out and coolant went all over the place, so now I'm cleaning up coolant. But overall, productive day. Everything is working. Last major thing before going for another drive is getting some clearance on that header. So that will be what I'm tackling next. You guys saw a time lapse of me taking out the header and denting the shit out of it. Process, heat it up. You can use a torch. I used a heat gun. Either will work. And just use a hammer and dent the crap out of it. One thing that some people may think is a concern, which I did a little bit of reading on before I bought these headers because I knew they would require some clearancing. I checked out like if there's any impact from these dents, and I found a couple threads where people basically dented the shit out of their headers and dyno tested them, and the dents made zero difference. So if anyone thinks that this little dent here is going to make a big impact on flow, I really don't think it will. But anyway, the process from here, put the headers back in, and then I will go in the cab and turn the wheels lock to lock and make sure that we're good. If we are, button everything up, and then I think we can go for a drive. If we aren't, take it back out, dent more, process continues. All right, as you guys can see, we are good. I tried to take a video, maybe hard to see, but we have at least, I would say, an 1/8 inch of space across all sides. Steering wheel moves very nice back and forth, both directions, lock to lock. It feels good. So we are going to bolt the header back on, button everything up, and this should mark the last really big thing that I needed to fix. All right, header's back in. Everything is buttoned up. I torqued all of the header bolts down. Reminder on those, it's 11 foot-pounds starting from the center, and then 18 after 11. So you do 11 and then 18. Put everything back together, started it up, bled the coolant. Next step, take it for a drive, and hopefully there's nothing else wrong with it. We are in the Colorado, about to go for the second drive. This is going to be baby steps, so still probably going to be a relatively short drive. Want to make sure everything's good. One thing I'm a bit concerned about is the cooling system. I'm definitely going to keep a close eye on the temps. If I start climbing, I'm basically going to come straight back. Only other issue I'm also a little bit concerned about is I know my speedometer is way off. I don't know if I talked about this, but I emailed Current and they basically didn't calibrate it correctly in the tune. So when I actually get this thing tuned, I have to get that fixed. But yeah, the speedometer is probably going to pin at about 40 miles an hour, which should be interesting. It'll look like I'm going 110. But yeah, I'm gonna get this thing started up, make sure everything's good, and then take it out. Drive number 2 in the books. No major issues to report, which is great. Steering shaft did not hit. Steered much better. It was not scary to drive this time. That was probably the main reason I actually turned around last time, is because this thing wouldn't steer past like a quarter lock. Coolant seems good. Fitting for the heater core is not leaking or anything, so I think we're good there. New radiator cap, again, not leaking, which is great now that I have the right one. Cooling fans still have not come on yet, assuming I just didn't drive it for long enough for this thing to, or get this thing basically hot enough for the fans to come on, but that is one thing I'm a little bit concerned about, so I may have to check that out. I may test the fans and just make sure that they actually work. Probably a good idea, because I have not done that yet. But overall, solid second drive. I really didn't want to take this thing out in the Nashville traffic right now. It's about rush hour in Nashville on a Friday. It's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. Sunday is going to be nice. Traffic should be light, so I'm going to take this thing out on Sunday for a nice cruise. But yeah, this definitely helped build up my confidence. I did give it a couple rips. I'm hoping that comes through on video. Small rips. I was in a neighborhood, so I had to be kind of conscious of that. But felt like it had some power for sure, and tune actually felt decent. I'll report back once I go out for the next drive. All right, that is going to wrap this one up. Overall, very successful past few weeks for the Colorado. Super happy that the truck is running and driving great, and I got really the last few hurdles completely figured out. So I'm in a good spot. What I did here was just threw together what is left on the truck. So for now, I'm considering the swap complete. The stuff that I have to finish out is, you know, it's important, but I don't think I'm really going to feature much else on details in terms of the swap because the swap is pretty much good. Everything is working for the most part, and it's sort of just fine tuning things from here. So yeah, I'm calling the swap done, and a lot of the videos moving forward are just going to be kind of small updates and then focusing on more so on tuning and things of that nature. So I made a final to-do list. I've already checked one thing off of this, which was testing the fans. I just took care of that. So the fans are working fine. Other things on here that are important to get done. I need to get the exhaust welded out and some hangers added. So you guys know I kind of just put a temporary system on there for now. So that's one thing I'm going to get done professionally is get the exhaust welded out. Really biggest thing outside of that is going to be actually going and getting this thing dynoed. Part of that with, you know, getting it tuned is going to be getting the speedometer fixed, as I talked about. That should be an easy fix while getting the tune done. So I probably will feature a video once I actually get some dyno time booked and find a tuner locally. I think I have one picked out, but if anyone in the Nashville, Tennessee area has suggestions for a good tuner, let me know. Throw it in the comments or message me. And then outside of the exhaust and the tuning is really just doing the ignition switch relearn. Probably the least important thing since I have a way to start it. But that's just going to the dealer and getting the dealer to do the relearn. So it's really just three things. It's exhaust, tuning, and the ignition switch relearn. And then this thing will be pretty much running and driving like a factory truck. So in a good spot. Probably the next video that I'm going to put out is a build breakdown. So I've kept tabs and have like a full spreadsheet with all of the costs down to like to a detailed level. It's going to bore you guys how detailed it is, but I'll try to keep it pretty high level and give everyone a summary on how much it costs to do this type of thing. So if anyone's interested, you know, you guys can use this as a baseline. But anyway, that will be the next video, and then probably shortly after that, I'll come out with one. Likely with some dyno time booked for this thing. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.